This is sick, and it's therefore deviant. We do not want it.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is A Morning Somewhere for February 23rd, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns. With me, sitting right over there. She's glad there's not as many twos around. It's Ashley. How you doing, Ashley?
I'm leaving my twos era. I'm really into threes today.
Today is follow-up Friday. It's Friday, Ashley. You made it through the week. Congratulations.
We did. We survived. You survived. Everyone survived except for the people who didn't. Well done.
All right, but Ash, how about you? What are some topics from the week that you would like to follow up on, either to clarify, to correct yourself, or just to expand upon?
Sure. A couple of little follow-ups. So earlier in the week, we talked about Reddit signing a deal to sell data to an AI company. It turns out that company is Google. They also filed more information for their upcoming IPO, which we've previously mentioned. And as part of that, they have to share more information about the company. And part of that information is that last year, the company generated $804 million in revenue, which was a 20% jump from the year prior to that, which is pretty significant. And it also revealed that the CEO and the chief operating officer, Jennifer Wong, were paid $286 million in 2023. That's including the two of them. So the two of them basically were paid a quarter of what the company made. That doesn't include stock and option awards, but that's still absolutely bonkers to me.
Well, does it have the total head count in any of that? Did you read that number anywhere? Because I'm curious what that would be.
I did not see a total head count. I did see some fun stats like 76 million people visited Reddit every day in December last year, which is a lot of people if you start counting them.
You know, I got to say, I kind of have to give them credit as a platform because, and this is rare that I will say that about Reddit, but it's kind of impressive that they can make $800 million of revenue. And I don't feel like Reddit is a platform that is just rife with ads. Like, I don't get any pop-ups, I don't get any screen takeovers when I'm scrolling or anything like that. And scrolling is a big part of Reddit, usually on sites. Man, a lot of the news sites that we use, that Reddit also uses for references and for links, when you go to those news sites, it's crazy. The moment you start scrolling, it's just ads start showing up and taking over everything. And Reddit, I feel like, just has like that one little ad every now and then.
Reddit did have another revenue stream, and I might have missed if they've replaced this with something else. I know they removed it, and that was awards. Do you remember you could actually pay to give someone a little gold medal or some kind of crazy award? And they removed some of, if not all of those awards. But I assume that those awards and the money that people paid into them are part of the $804 million the company made in revenue. I don't actually remember why they removed those. Do you remember that?
I think, when people had a bank of these awards and they would hand them out, part of the bonuses were for some of the awards that they would give people Reddit Premium, which would then take away ad impressions. So people would just load up other people with all these little awards, and some people would have Reddit Premium for months and months and months, if not years, for a popular post. Perhaps they did it because they were starting to cut into their ad revenue, and they realized that what we're just going to have to show here more than anything else is lots and lots of concentrated ad revenue. They did replace it with some other things, like there's ways to gild an individual post with you have to turn on monetization for your account, and then someone can give you literally a money upvote for your post. But it doesn't change anything, I don't think, other than the arrow. So they did replace it with some stuff, but if they replace it with something far less popular, it kind of feels like they didn't replace it with anything. So I get why you feel that way, Ash.
Yeah, I do find the Reddit model very interesting in that you could gift someone sort of this Reddit Premium trial, and I don't know what their conversion numbers are like, but it has weird little features the Reddit Premium does, and it's been a while since I got gifted it for like a month, and it was really cool. It showed things like it would highlight new posts in a thread since the last time you were in that thread. Stuff that is quite helpful if you're terminally online and you're always like checking through the same threads to see like what are people saying now, what's going on, what's happening, guys. But I don't know if those perks were enough to keep people who got this surprise free trial if they were like, oh, this is worth the money. I will say that was one of the interesting things about YouTube Premium. Is that having tried Premium, I was like, oh yeah, I would absolutely throw $5 a month to not have to deal with the pre-roll ads at the beginning of shows. And people who pay for Premium, if they watch a movie or a video on YouTube that's monetized and they would otherwise be seeing an ad, the creator actually gets quite a bit more from their view than they would from an ad impression from that user.
Yeah, and it's monetization is the thing that everyone seems to be experimenting with now for user accounts because it works so well for YouTube, works so well for Twitch, that now Reddit's trying it, Twitter's trying it as well. There was a big story like last month where Mr. Beast started posting videos on X, and of course now Tucker Carlson is doing it as well, obviously. But yeah, everyone's trying it out with monetization of user accounts. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so that's the update I have there. It looks like Reddit is still aiming for IPO in March. Do you have any updates?
Yeah, before we talk about new stuff, we can go back really quickly to some of the grocery shopping stuff. I have a little bit of a lightning round here. First of all, I was thinking this at the time, but I wanted to go check on it before I said it on mic. Do you remember who one of the big backers for Redbox was?
Who?
It was McDonald's. And I'm not sure if that's where the red comes from, but McDonald's was one of the big ones, and it was McDonald's and Coinstar. And if you're not from America, you won't know what Coinstar is. Yeah, it was Coinstar's a company where they will have these machines that are in grocery stores where if you have a bunch of loose pocket change, you come and dump it into one of these machines. It makes a huge racket, and then it gives you the money for the change and takes a little cut off of it as well, like a percentage off the top. I think it's like 7% or something like that in order for you to do your change. So I had to go look it up, and it was actually, yes, McDonald's, and that got me thinking too as I went into Netflix. I forgot to say this when I was traveling last time, but I got hit by the password sharing thing.
Oh Netflix no! You did?
Yeah, when I traveled, it goes, you're not in the right place, and I had to get an approval code from Netflix in order to watch my own account, a temporary viewing approval code.
Yeah, this is maybe a longer term follow up, but it does bounce off of that, which is I thought that Netflix's password sharing crackdown was that you could only stream on so many accounts at a time, and I guess that's not it. And the reason that I didn't realize it was location based, I guess because we moved together, and so we weren't in a lot of separate places. But it mostly cares if you are regularly in a specific place watching something. So because we moved and we're both in a new regular place watching things, it didn't trigger anything. So you're saying that when you were traveling and you were suddenly in a different place, then it cracked down on you.
Then it cracked down on me, yeah. And that got me thinking further about Netflix, Ashley, because we were talking about earlier, and there was a great discussion about it in our subreddit. What was the most valuable thing that you ever owned? And it turns out a lot of people in the subreddit had previously owned cryptocurrency when it was worth nothing, used it for something, and they've held on to that memory for a really long time. But the combination of that with the Netflix discussion, do you remember, because you said this week that Netflix shut down their DVDs in the mail service. Do you remember what was the longest DVD you had and never watched?
Oh, I don't remember what the DVD was. It was a highbrow film. And I had it for like 3 or 4 months. I remember actually having a lot of fun managing my Netflix queue. Do you remember you would go in and you would be like, this is on my list next, this is on my list next, this is on my list after that, and you could reorder them. And I would actually spend, I forgot that was even a thing, but I remember enjoying figuring out and like putting together my Netflix queue.
No, yeah, I completely had forgotten that until you mentioned it, but absolutely, I remember doing that. And it's probably a symptom of the way we were watching the movies, right? Because it was going to take 2 days to get the next movie. So you had to plan it ahead. I would never reorder my, watch list queue now. That wouldn't be something I would think about because I'm not going to sit there and just watch things off of the watch list. But that's what the DVD thing is. You're going to get whatever's at the top of that list next. So you would constantly work and you would have this like running list of what's prioritized and in what order you want to watch it.
Yeah, and then there were occasionally things where they just didn't have enough discs because there was too much demand, like, season 3 of Friends or something. You just couldn't get it.
It was like you said, it was like a highbrow movie that everybody had, and they're like, I'm going to watch this, and they would put it on their coffee table, and it would just sit there for months at a time because you're like, no, I'm definitely going to watch this thing that won like best adapted screenplay in 1982. I'm going to watch this movie. I swear I'm smart. I'm not just going to watch Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a disconnect between queuing Ashley and actual watching Ashley, in that queuing Ashley thought she was a bit more sophisticated than watching Ashley was.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, when you're making plans. One of the funniest things I ever read on Twitter was all of my future plans fully depend on the fact that I'm going to have a level of motivation and dedication that I have never once demonstrated in my entire life.
Yeah. No, that feels very familiar.
It just shows we always have grand plans for ourselves. We have a high opinion of ourselves tomorrow. Like tomorrow, I'm going to show this incredible level of motivation when I wake up. And then you wake up in the morning, you're like, the fuck were you thinking giving me all these things on the to-do list? I'm not doing any of these things.
Yeah.
I also want to do a quick, if I may, roundup through some grocery stuff.
Please do.
From this week, because we did. I want to say, I figured out what my gray flag is. Have you ever seen this trend online about, what is your gray flag? It's not a red flag. Yeah, it's a beige flag, or something like that. It's just an intermediate, just a bad trait I've got. My beige flag is that I will text you when I go to the grocery store and say, hey, I'm at the grocery store. Do you need anything? And then I don't check my messages again until I get in line at the checkout. I do it every single time I go to the grocery store because I'm like immediately like, ooh, look, they have Gatorade.
You do big.
And then I get lost in it.
Do you need anything? And I'm like, yes, we need berries, bananas, we need carrots, we need these things. And then you get home, and I'm like, did you get them? And you're like, what?
But
I've never heard of these things before in my life.
Who are you? Who sent that? It was an AI imposter.
What are you doing in the kitchen? Speaking of AI, Google has temporarily shut down their Gemini AI image generator.
Yes.
To be better at people, they said. I don't know the details. Have you heard more about this?
I should be more read up on this because of the content of it. But really what it was people kept posting images saying that they couldn't get the Google image generator to generate images of white people. Like they were prompting it in really bizarre ways. Like even at one point they said, give me a German soldier from 1943. And it produced like black Nazis and Native American Nazis, which is like, it was going out of its way. And, obviously when it avoids an entire classification of people, if it was doing that, then it ends up creating these really even worse, more obscene images by trying to be ultra careful about it. Ashley, it was like the sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere problem, but for the modern AI era. Trying to solve one problem and creating a whole different one.
All right. One more quick follow-up. We've talked previously about Xbox games coming to other platforms. We have dates on some of those now. The first one being Pentiment. That is now available on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Switch. We also have a date for Hi-Fi Rush. That's going to be coming to PlayStation 5 on March 19th. And I'm actually, now that everyone has been telling us, since we discussed not knowing anything about it, that we would love it, I've actually downloaded it on my Xbox, and I'm going to play it this weekend. I'll let you know what I think.
It's one of those games where you either apparently have never heard of this game ever, or you absolutely adore this game, because there doesn't seem to be much of any in between there at all.
Yeah, well, that game came out, I think we had a newborn at the time, so that would explain why we missed hearing anything about it. It came out January 25th, 2023. So we were sleep deprived and not paying attention to anything at all.
And Ashley, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Sea of Thieves also has its launch date for the PS5. And this is according to Digital Trends on MSN. With the Xbox Wire post, we learned that Sea of Thieves Rare's multiplayer pirate game launches on PlayStation 5 on April 30th. So it seems interesting to me that they could announce they're going to take these games to PlayStation and then so quickly have them just ready to go. I would have thought porting these things would take months and months, if not a year or two.
I assume that they've been working on it for some time.
I mean, clearly, if they're ready to go as soon as they make the announcement. Here they come, which is, I think, a smart way to do it.
I agree. Just I like it when announcements come very close to the thing that they're announcing.
We've kind of gone into current stuff and Follow Up Friday, but I did want to follow up too on some of the grocery store stuff. We were touching on some of the stuff. The forum, of course, went kind of nuts with the butter aspect. Ashley, you triggered their how many sticks of butter anxiety.
Do we need to start putting like trigger warning butter at the beginning of episodes?
I think trigger warning butter would be one that'd be good for me, that's for sure. But one of the things that I keep wanting to bring up about UK grocery stores, which affects you more than anyone else, is a weird thing that's done in the UK versus in the US. Like if you go buy a big bag of chips in the US, it's a big bag of chips, like the party size chip. Or like in Ashley's case, it says for sharing. And it's like, no, Ashley's not going to share these chips.
That.
She's going to eat.
No. Those are for me.
She's eating the entire like couch throw pillow size of crisps. She's going to eat them all herself. In the UK, Ash, if you get a bag that big, what's in it?
Oh, it's 6 little bags. It's a bit strange that to me that for an area, for a region that prides itself very much on recycling and not creating a lot of rubbish and waste and stuff like that, they do it with things like crisps, just willy-nilly. So you get a regular, not even like party-sized bag of crisps, just like regular big old bag of crisps, right? And in the US, you would open that and inside are crisps. In the UK, you open it and inside are 6 little bags. And I think it's a portion control thing, right? They're like, this is a portion. This is a portion. This is what we're counting as a portion in the nutrition information. So it's probably got caught up in like some weird nutrition regulation. But as a result, you just have 6 bags and then I have to open a bag and either stop there, which is rare, or have multiple bags, and then I feel really guilty about the waste. I don't feel guilty about eating the crisps. I feel guilty about having multiple bags. So you can occasionally find these quote sharing bags, but very, very rarely. You can like maybe if you go to like an Asda grocery store instead of a Tesco grocery store, you can occasionally find a sharing bag. And when I do, I load up because that way I have less guilt. But then I have a whole bunch of big bags in the pantry, Bernie. So it's a real problem for us.
Well, Ashley, I think I can solve your problem for you. I don't know. Are you just venting, or is it okay if I help you solve the problem?
In this case, you can help me solve the problem.
All right. Clearly, the solution here is you just eat the little bags as well, and that way you don't feel guilty about eating crisps. Just eat the bags. In fact, you don't even have to open the little bags in that case. You just jam them in your face. I'm
over microplastics. I don't feel like they're ambitious enough. Let's go for the macroplastics.
Yeah, you'll be like a sea turtle. There'll be some ecologist who like grabs you, wrangles you, and pulls about 40 bags of crisps out of your stomach. But I do think it's interesting in that conversation that you mentioned what you call a regular or standard size bag of crisps, and you said that it's a regular size, not even party size. You were talking about the giant party size in the US that doesn't even really exist in the UK. It does for some things. It's not really clear to me either how it works. You know, just to be clear what she's talking about, the regular size bag, I think a lot of people, especially outside the US, would call the regular size bag like the size you get with a sandwich, like a single serving size. And then if you get the family or party size, it's a giant bag that no one should eat in one sitting, but everyone does anyway.
We do.
And then that's filled with 6 of those little like sandwich shop size bags. Very strange way to deliver it. Very strange way. And now my wife has to eat potato chip bags every time she eats potato chips. So. All right, Ashley, we probably have time for one quick current story. What's the most important earth-shattering event that has happened this week that we absolutely have to discuss before the weekend?
That the world's oldest dog has been stripped of its title.
Did it die, or is it just?
No,
they just say.
So, yes, sort of. Yes, the dog has passed away, but it's been posthumously stripped of its title. So the dog was awarded this oldest dog in the world February of last year, and they initially were using apparently the microchip to prove his age, and now they're saying that there's no way that it's possible that it was actually this old. They said he was 30 years old, which is pretty freaking old for a dog. But now there's been a report launched following doubts about the reliability of the microchip proving its age. And so they've stripped this dog posthumously of its oldest award. And I guess they're now on the hunt for the new oldest dog.
I don't understand how the microchip does it. Was it a microchip that the dog supposedly had since birth? Is that what it is?
It's not really clear from the article. This was reported on the BBC. And so I'll put it in the link dump, but it just says that the microchip claimed to prove Bobby's age was not sufficient proof to grant him the title, which was already awarded. So they're basically going back and saying that it's not enough. That wasn't enough proof.
I can't tell you how happy I would be, Ashley, if it turns out that the microchip was actually a Neuralink implant that it had in the dog, and that's the thing that disqualified it. All right, everybody. Well, that does it for us. 2/23/24. We will be back to talk to you on Monday. We hope you'll be here as well.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.